Good morning, everyone. This is Sanchita Gopal. I work with JER HR Group and Trainery. And I'm going to start, give you a brief background, and then Mahesh and Matt will take over. So we have Mahesh. He has been with JER and Trainery for around 10 years. He's the managing director for both. He has been in Wall Street for 20 plus years, and he's currently working on making TraineryLEARN the leading HCM software. We also have Matt Cross with us. He has been in training and facilitating solutions for over 15 years, and he's going to be providing you more information on our platform. And to start with, we have few questions, and it'll be great if you can put it in the chat, your feedback, so we can see what you really think. So what is the biggest challenge when it comes to managing employee training? We have tracking completions across format, assigning and monitoring training, ensuring training compliance, limited visibility, and others. We will send you these questions, maybe even later on you can explain in detail. So you can start with messaging in the chat box. Next question is, how much time does your team spend managing training logistics? Less than 10 hours, 10 to 20 hours, 20 to 40, and over 40. And apart from that, we have how does your organization currently deliver live training? So now I would request Mahesh to take over. Thank you.
Yes. Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me? I just want to make sure.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes. Okay, excellent. Okay, let me share my screen. So let me make it a slide. All right. Once again, good morning and thank you for being in the webinar. Matt is going to do the product demo. I will give you a rundown of what Trainery is all about and how we came about, and Matt will do the demo part. We have been in the business for more than 40 years. We started off as a content distributor in 1981. And over time, we have evolved into a SaaS company. If you look at our background, we have been a safety and a HR content distributor since 1981. And only in the last 5 years, we have transformed ourselves into a SaaS company. The reason why we switched into a SaaS company is because we actually faced the need for a LMS system. And there was a gap in the market as to how a solution can be available for an organization like ours. And that led to us looking at the market and looking for a solution. And we finally had to custom build ourselves with our clients in mind. Most of our customers in the LMS space have been our content customers, and they have switched also into our LMS. And obviously, over time, we built our solutions from a human capital management standpoint, and now we have a comprehensive HCM solution. In the interest of time, I don't want to go through everything that we have done in the last 5 years. As you can imagine, the last 5 years have been hectic, and we have done multiple product rollout and integrated multiple solutions into a TraineryLEARN platform, and we will walk through that in the next few slides. As you can see, we have one integrated HCM product. We call it one HCM, in which there are three major components. One is the Learn that we're going to have a demo today. And the second one is the Comp Builder, which is under the Pay module. And the third one is the Performance module. Our subscription modules are Learn, Pay, and Performance. But on top of that is our core HR, which is actually our unique proposition to our customers. We have a comprehensive HR solution that sits on top of these modules. And it is a module that we offer all our customers, and it's part of our strategy or the way we offer our customers is a comprehensive HR solution. And that's something that Matt may not be able to go through this today, but at some point, if you're interested, we can give you a detailed rundown of the core HR services. Our demo is going to cover the Learn module today. And if you're obviously interested, we can cover other parts of it later as a one-on-one. Let me go to the next slide. I'll talk about the core module that we have. There are sets of functions that provide comprehensive set of features for all our subscribers. If you look at the slide, you can see how our product as an integrated user experience functionality from an end user standpoint. You can set up your organization profile, everything in the Trainery system. And because it is a HCM system, it works in an integrated fashion. And you set up once, you don't have to set up again, and it's a cross-module integrated application. Our communication system is also integrated across our modules. So customers who have multiple modules subscribed can really leverage these features because it is a cross-module, cross-application functionality that's been built across the system. The third one is an employee profile. The employee profile is a HRIS profile with every information you can ask for from an employee standpoint. So if you are a manager, L&D manager, looking to understand your employees' learning, there's only one place you can go to and you'll get full information about your employee. So we have built both from operational standpoint and from an HR L&D manager standpoint. And that is the unique feature that we have in our system. Obviously, you can make it for yourself in terms of your logo, your security level, your role, your access, and so on and so forth, right? The other piece is the hierarchy and the access. You can set up your own organization's hierarchy, roles, responsibilities, access levels, and everything can be customized by you in the setup. And you can define your own administrator, you can define your own security level, and that will be implemented across for all the modules you have subscribed. And the last piece here is My Portal. My Portal is something that you land in, and it is for you, whether you are an administrator, whether you are an employee, whether you are a customer, it doesn't matter. Each one will have their own portal. And depending on the subscription, the My Portal will be more or less depending on all the modules that for which you have access to, but it is a single place where you, as a user of the system, will be able to know the schedules, the learning record, the courses assigned to you. So it's one place where all types of learners and administrators can do their job more efficiently. So let me go to the next slide. This is a slide we wanted to put together to give you an idea of how we approached our product development. We built the solution with you, the customer in mind. How did this come about? That's because we face the problem that you face today. The many of the problems we have identified during our search for a solution was clear to us, and that is a solution that's a problem that our customers have. When we were looking for an LMS software, we were commercially looking for a solution, but it was a very isolated LMS solution. And so these issues led us to build a comprehensive learning solution that is for an organization that has multiple types of learning. Let's go through this because this is an important slide we want to cover. Many LMS solutions today cover just the e-learning part of it. Yes, e-learning is important, and there are great LMS products, but they cover only LMS. What we do today, what we have in TraineryLEARN is a comprehensive learning solution that is just not LMS. It is all types of learning. So we cover your classroom learning to seminar to conference to e-learning, virtual ILT. You just name it, we cover it. Because your learners are not learning just from a e-learning standpoint, it is across the board. And all of them are captured in the single system. And the next piece we have is licenses, certificates, and credentials, right? Many of the employees have licenses, certificates. Some of them are mandatory for the job that they're doing. Some of them are part of their job profile. Obviously, the licenses and certificates do have requirements that have to be satisfied, and they do expire. So we keep track of it, we manage it for you, and that is part of your learning and development process, right? Your employees have many certificates, many licenses, and that's all tracked and managed. And any CPEs gained are tracked in the system. So it keeps you compliant where it is required to be compliant. And also where it is optional, still you want to maintain the records, you can. Event management is something that our customers face. Anytime you have a classroom event where you are bringing bunch of people into a hotel or a conference room, that is a big project. And we manage the entire process electronically. If you take a OSHA solution, OSHA certification, you need to have a proof of attendance. Electronically, we can manage it. Those kinds of event management, capturing all the records electronically is part of our event process. Now, you have learners who learn from multiple angles, and tracking their participation, completion, verification is part of the process that we have. So we don't just do e-learning, we cover all types of learning. One of the constant theme that we have noticed is, yes, LMS does e-learning, but because the organization's learning is beyond e-learning, many of the records maintained today are in Excel or some type of manual process. And we manage the entire learning process through electronic system. So when somebody is subscribing to TraineryLEARN, they're moving from an Excel-based in somebody's Windows Explorer to an electronic SaaS-based model. The other piece is many organizations have coaching as one of their learning components for their employees. And we manage the entire end-to-end coaching process from hiring a coach for a coachee and having set of coaching programs and making sure that the completion process is there and certain level of confidentiality is maintained. The entire stakeholder process is managed from the system, and administration of that, and interface between coach and coachee, coach and the managers, and the coach and the administrator are all managed through the system. And then, of course, we talked about credential. We manage the credentials electronically in the system. So how did that all come about? We have multiple brands here. And the reason why we have brand is from a market standpoint, we wanted to position it so it is comprehensive, but it is also modular, right? So there are customers that are subscribed to one or two modules, not necessarily all the modules. We wanted to support that also. But if a customer is interested in all the modules, we wanted to support that. So it is a modular system, but it is comprehensive. So one doesn't have to subscribe to all of it, but they can subscribe to what they need. One of the biggest offering that we have is the content. Many times people subscribe to LMS and they realize, oh, I need to subscribe to content also. And then there is a separate licensing process for the content. We do it all the time because we have been a content provider for more than 40 years. We have relationship with many content providers, and we have around 6,000 curated courses that you can select from a large list of all types of categories. So this is our way of solving organizations' problems in terms of LMS, credential tracking, coaching, learning management, streaming, ILT platform, and content. The next slide is going to give you more details of each of those modules as to what they do. It is quite comprehensive, and in the interest of time, I don't want to go through each and every bullet point, but you can see when we look at the left-hand side of the features that are generally required, there are some core set of features that are part of the learning module. And then depending on different requirements, some of those features are turned on. If you look at just the training management as one example, it doesn't do justice to the scope and the breadth of functionality that is offered in the training management. But the key feature there is when you have a classroom program, either you have program like track software, like track learning that you have, or you have an Excel spreadsheet. The question you want to ask yourself is, do I want to manage an Excel spreadsheet or do I want an electronic solution where all the learning of your learners are in one place? So each of those modules cover all aspects of the learning that your employees, your learners go through. They all sit on top of, as I said before, our core HR system. So that is the architecture, that is the overall feature. And the last slide I have before I leave it to Matt is this. I know it is a crowded slide, but it is an important slide, right? Because if you see on the right-hand side, there are multiple stakeholders if you think little closely about it. There are learners, but there are also L&D managers, L&D professionals, HR, compliance managers. And you have external customers, you have policyholders if you are an insurance company, you have members if you are an association, you have vendors, you have franchisee. So each one has different role to play. Either they are on the learning side or in the administration side of it. So many stakeholders are part of your L&D strategy, or L&D's requirements and needs. So there are many stakeholders that are part of this, and we satisfy their requirements through our system. When you see on the left-hand side, the learning type, as I talked about a few minutes back, it's not just the e-learning. Yes, there are LMS solutions that do your e-learning, but organizations do not have just the LMS. They have conferences, they have seminar, they go to virtual programs, they go for an on-site program, they have instructor-led training. There are multiple types of learning that happens in any organization of any size. So when you see the learning type and you see the stakeholders, then you see, okay, there are many ways you need to administer as a L&D manager or a L&D stakeholder. So if you look at the stakeholder support, we support so many different types of stakeholders, and we administer different types of event coaching, instructor management, coaching administration, notification, and of course, all the features like reporting and all that. But there is also a learning management piece that is built into this, where you have a content creation that has to be supported. You have on-site event that has to be supported, virtual instructor-led training, and you have a calendar, you have a scheduler, and a simple thing like you want to schedule a on-site program for the rest of 2025 with so many criteria, requirement, constraint, you want to schedule a program. Our scheduler will help you do that. So this comprehensive learning management, administration, and stakeholder support all come into play while taking care of the stakeholders and the types of learning that you have in your organization. And the modules we have is different modules we have to support. If you decide, I don't want a particular module for whatever reason, then you don't have to subscribe to it. So that's why the modules are different modules with different features, but the requirement of an L&D organization is supported by this system. With that, I want to pass it on to Matt, but before we go to Matt, if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer now or later. Any questions now before I pass it on to Matt? All right, let's go to Matt. Matt, go ahead.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I will take over here and share my screen. Give me just a moment. Let's see here. Whoop. Let's back out. Let's see. And we want, there we go. And you should be able to see my screen now.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, so here we are on the TraineryLEARN platform. I am currently logged into one of our demo accounts. So my name is not Simon. My name is Matt Cross, as we said earlier. But we're going to be walking through this platform as Simon so we can see what a user and administrator view looks like as they are approaching the TraineryLEARN platform. So as Mahesh mentioned, this is a cloud-based SaaS solution. So there's no on-site servers or maintenance to worry about. Our clients simply go to a website and log in order to access whichever modules they are subscribed to. Once the user logs in, they are greeted with this welcome homepage, which gives a lot of information pertaining to Trainery and to JER, including announcements and news, links to webinars, including today's webinar as we see, as well as information on already completed webinars and upcoming webinars. There's also handy resources like white papers and occasionally other sorts of forms that will pop up on here that can be of assistance. On the right-hand side, we see our applications, as Mahesh was describing earlier, where our clients are able to see on the right-hand side all of the modules, and then specifically under My Applications, which modules they are enrolled in. So we can see, as Mahesh described, the breakdown between the HCM piece and the TraineryLEARN. And we are going to be going through much of the TraineryLEARN section today. So with that, let's get started. We're going to click right here on our TraineryLEARN icon, which is going to load the user into a My Portal page. So this is their dashboard for their information and their learning, where they're able to see, of course, their profile information, a breakdown of their learning in terms of what modes of learning they have done through the platform. So we can see e-learning, on-site training, and virtual instructor-led training. The user also sees a schedule of upcoming events or assigned e-learning courses, so they can quickly click Start Now if they wanted to begin with those courses. They can see their course status, how many have completed, ongoing, and so on. Down here, they can also see a listing of their certificates. If we switch over to our track credentials, one of the modules of TraineryLEARN, we can see that this person holds a PMP and a CAPM license that expired on, or will expire on the 25th of May. So he's got some training and certifications to do to keep that current. You can also see our recently completed courses down here, and of course a calendar view of any upcoming sessions that they are enrolled in. We'll look at some of the rest of the information as we move through, but for now, we're going to move on and look just at the navigation piece for the platform. So we have our left sidebar menu here that has our different homes. So we've got our organization, employees, the My Portal, the TraineryLEARN, then any of the human capital management pieces that they are also subscribed to will be a separate breakdown here. And then of course the reports. As the user is in any of these menus, they're taken to the sub menu where they have additional options, as you'll see as we go along, where we have our options along the top bar here, top here, we've got tabs underneath just to put everything in the appropriate category. There is also a very handy feature in the top right-hand corner. Not only does the user have the ability to sign out, change password, etc. from here, there is the help page where a user can visit to find frequently asked questions, video walkthroughs, and guides to help navigate and utilize the features of the TraineryOne platform and all of the individual modules contained. As Mahesh said earlier, one of the benefits of having a unified singular platform like this is the fact that there's no need to set up the organization and employees in multiple different softwares. You're able to set it and forget it, essentially. We set it up once in Trainery, and then anytime you have another module that you use or subscribe to, all of that organization information and employees information is carried over and utilized for all of the modules. So if we take a look at the organization, for example, we can see a dashboard for the organization that only the admins can see, but showing their subscription status for the different modules that they are enrolled in, as well as some user information and system utilization information at a glance. There's some other options along the top here, like their company profile, subscription status, but in the interest of time, we're going to skip through to some of the important parts, starting with the structure. So one of the great things about the Trainery platform is the flexibility to be able to essentially mirror your organization structure during setup and any time that you need to maintain. So we can see the breakdown here for this organization's hierarchy. We can see that they are divided into different entities. And then underneath each of these, we've got a tree here where we can see under human resources, the HR admin division, comp and benefits, training and development. And then we break down another level further for individual departments within those divisions. And I'm using the naming entity, division, and department since those are the default choices in the application, but we give the flexibility to edit those labels on an individual customer client basis by using the edit level labels. So if, for instance, your organization is structured by region, state, city, you could rename those different levels here so that during the reports and all of the user information, it's appropriately labeled specific to your organization. Move on to the employees section, as this is the other of the two global settings for all of the modules. Under employees, we're greeted with another dashboard for information at a glance for our employees that would aggregate any information and all information that we've put in for the employee profiles, including things like employees by age, by gender, by type, location, departments. If we take a look here at our employee list, we're going to see a grid view of all of the employees for this organization. Now, we won't get too specific into adding employees or anything, but we'll take a quick look at what the screen appears so you can see the data that can be entered. So by clicking add new, we're taken to a screen where we can fill out information for a new employee. As you can see, there's a lot of information on here that can be collected for each individual employee. Not everything is mandatory, of course. In fact, really the only mandatory fields for creating new user profiles is going to be a first name, last name, email address, and then where in the organization do they live. All of the other information, though, is extremely useful and handy, especially if you're subscribed to some of the other modules or depending on your modules you're subscribed to. For instance, things like the job details, the job title, work roles, start date, years of service, all can come into play, especially with our HCM modules of Comp Builder, Job Builder, and our performance management platform, Review Cloud. We'll back out again to the employee lists. And again, we're looking at all of our employees and their images here on the grid view. We also have a nice list view if you would prefer that view instead. So we can see just briefly information for employees, including their last login date, how they were uploaded, if they were manually created, or if they were imported either through a CSV or Excel file. And we're going to take a look at a couple of employees so we can see what these people look like. So let's go first to I'm logged in as Simon, so we'll go in as Simon. So we can see Simon's individual employee profile here, where of course edits can be made if you were to move departments, change jobs, work roles, etc. But we've got a submenu of different options pertaining to Simon, so we can check out his learning section. So the learning section is going to give us, from the TraineryLEARN perspective, an overview and deep dive of this activity for Simon, where we can enroll him in different courses or check out what learning paths he's on and his credentials. Our landing page here is our learning records, which is going to collect all of the records of completion for various courses that he either attends in person, or if he attends a virtual instructor-led training or completes e-learning courses, he's going to receive a learning record as a proof of completion. We can take a look at courses and see for courses what in-person or virtual courses he is currently enrolled in. LMS courses is going to give us a list of e-learning courses that Simon is enrolled in. So we can see that Simon has a few that he's started, one he's completed, one not started. So we've got our handy graphs here. A nice feature as well is that the admin can reset progress. So if Simon needed to retake this course, we can simply reset the course and put him a new due date for him to take, so that when he logs in and goes to my portal, he's going to see that pop up on his screen. We can also enroll Simon into new courses using our Add New button at the top right, which is going to be standard through really any of the pages where we need to add anything. We're going to see a blue icon and a white plus symbol. But this is going to open up all of the courses where we could just click and assign. One feature of our platform is a notification system. So there are email notifications that get sent out to users. Whenever a new user is created, they get a welcome email initially that's going to allow them the chance to create their password and finish their employee profile. They're also going to receive an email notification whenever they are enrolled in new courses. They're going to get an email that says, hey, you've got new courses in your library, please log in. We won't look at it today, but we can see there's even a tab for performance management, since we're keeping this pretty focused on TraineryLEARN and not our human capital management solutions. But I do want to point out that even the HCM modules will carry over to the individual employee records so that we could see coaching and reviews as those are completed. Mahesh said earlier that you are allowed to manage the user roles and security settings within the platform, and this is one place where we can do that. So we're looking at specifically Simon here and the different roles that he has within the platform. Since TraineryLEARN is modular, there is no one role for everyone, so it could very well be that Simon, for instance, is an LMS admin, but not an admin for Review Cloud, our performance management platform. So there is a breakdown in different roles for access levels so that maybe you don't necessarily want an LMS admin to see all of the sensitive HR related and annual review process related data. So you can segregate that by giving them a different role. Let's move on to our TraineryLEARN modules. So we open up our TraineryLEARN menu and we see a listing of different options. We're going to start from the top and work our way down, starting with courses. So we'll go to courses and we can see a listing of all of the courses with our filters here for language, modes, categories, etc. So if we were to open up, for instance, our modes, we can see our on-site training, e-learning training, and our instructor-led training. If we wanted to filter this down to just e-learning courses, we can see that. Our on-site courses, we can see that. In fact, let's take a look at the on-site course here. We've got the Advanced Leadership Program, where we can see again, or if we needed to make edits to this course, we can do so from here. Any course content that we have would be available through here. And we can see a listing of users associated with this course. So in this case, this is an on-site training. So it's not like an e-learning course that's assigned and the user does whenever they can. The users do have to be scheduled, but we can see here that they were scheduled for 28th of April, just has not been marked as completed yet. They do have a session that was completed and marked on the 12th of May. Back to our courses, we can also take a look at one of our virtual instructor-led courses. Again, Advanced Leadership. We can see that there's a lot of users on this one, which gives us the listing and breakdown there. And finally, our e-learning courses that we have, we can take a quick look at one of those. We've got a conflict resolution here with 44 users. Again, the drill down that we can see and a listing of all of the users and their status, whether the course is ongoing or completed. Admin users are able to create new courses, again with the blue icon, white plus sign at the top right to add new, where they can create a new course, whether it be a on-site training, whether it be virtual instructor-led or an e-learning course. You are able to create and upload new e-learning courses to the Trainery platform. So if, for instance, you've used a course authoring software and you have created a course through something like Articulate, you can wrap that as a SCORM file and upload that directly as an e-learning course within the platform so that you can assign that out through the LMS module that we'll take a look at. In fact, let's go ahead and go to that learning management system. Here we go, left side menu, LMS, which is going to take us to a dashboard specific to the e-learning training contained within the learning management system. Again, just quick information at a glance for this organization. We'll go to Learning Journey, which is going to be the real heart of the Trainery LMS platform. So our learning journey gives us, again, those learning records that we talked about on the individual employee level. This is going to aggregate all of those for all employees that have done specifically the LMS module training. So we can see the record breakdown here. And we see that there's been a couple that have been done in May, as well as completion certificates for those courses that have been completed. One feature of the learning management system and much of the TraineryLEARN modules is the ability to group courses in what's called a bundle. So we'll take a look at the course bundles here, and we see that there are a couple of bundles already created. So bundles can collect the courses so that an admin user doesn't have to manually go through and assign however many courses in leadership, we'll say, to each individual user. They're able to put these courses into this bundle titled Leadership, for example. and they can add new courses to this or add users as well. But that way, instead of going through 6 times and assigning each of these courses, the admin can just with a couple clicks assign the whole bundle of courses to the user. They can also, as a feature, set bundles as a recurring reset. So for things like annual required training or certificate-based training that has to be done at intervals, they can set those intervals through the recurring course reset so that the system even automates the reassignment and archiving of prior course completions. We can go back to Learning Journey because we're going to take a look next at the learning path, which is similar to a bundle, but gives a bit more flexibility in terms of how the courses are going to be assigned. So if we just only set up a bundle and assign the bundle, then all 6 of those leadership courses get assigned to the user all at once. We can, however, create a learning path, which allows the admin to set some more conditions on the individual course assignments. So we'll take a quick look at this. We see a dynamic due date option within the learning path so that whenever a user is assigned a course within the learning path, a due date is automatically attributed to that user of 30 days after enrollment in this example. We can see a listing of the courses in this learning path so that we know this first course is going to be assigned to the user first. Once they complete this first course, then they're going to be enrolled in the second course. And since we've set up the dynamic due date option, they're going to have a 30-day due date on this. And obviously, we can add new courses at any time to this learning path, and we can assign this learning path to individual users as we need. The last thing here to take a look at is the My Courses page, which for our regular end users is going to be the default landing page. Or I'm sorry, after the My Portal, they have the link to the My Courses page. But this is going to show them a listing of their courses, starting with in progress, enrolled, and completed courses. So we will move on to our track learning, our track events here by selecting the events option to move on to the next module. So our events tracking and planning module allows the admin users to take those created on-site trainings or virtual instructor-led training courses that they've created and schedule those sessions, map out the logistics for sessions, including the location and any sort of handouts or materials that are needed can be assigned for the trainer to access through the course menu. But once we select this track series, we're landed on this dashboard that shows us, again, information at a glance, including the events that are currently scheduled with the number of attendees, how many have accepted, how many are pending, what date these events are scheduled to begin on, etc. We can also see sessions that are already scheduled for each individual course. So Foundations of Leadership is a course that currently has 3 different scheduled sessions for attendees to be scheduled for. Let's move to the Events tab, where we can see a listing of our events here on the Events Summary page. And we'll just take a quick look at one of these. We'll start with the New Employee Orientation, where we can see a listing of the various sessions for this new hire orientation. So we can see that there was one completed on May 5th, where we can click into and see what the course schedule was, what location this training was held, which trainer conducted this training. We can go to participants and see the number of attendees. Completion details, of course, just lets us know where in the course the user stands, what steps are needed for completion. In this case, it's a past event, so they're already completed. And the trainer is able to go in and close the event, sign off that people have attended the training, which we see has been done here. The users have been marked as completed. There's also a tab for training materials, where an admin or HR specialist is able to include whatever materials might be needed, like in this case, an employee handbook and a benefit descriptions, so that the trainer is able to just access this directly on site through logging in on the portal. And we can see our training logistics if there are any, so specific venue related information, notes for the trainer, discussion and feedback, documents needed by the venue, anything of that nature can be entered here so that it streamlines a lot of the logistics for managing these training sessions and events. Especially in organizations that may have multiple venues that they are doing this, not just one training location. Maybe there's something specific to each one, different hotel, different address, whichever. All of that can be attributed specifically to sessions so that the trainer assigned to that session has access to that information. We can also see an upcoming event just for comparison. So we have our new employee orientation. We've got an upcoming one on June 6th. So similar, but from here we could even add attendees. No one is currently enrolled in this course. We could add attendees. We could even copy from another event if it's something that the same attendees are going to be coming from. We can just select however many we would want and then save to go ahead and enroll these users in this session. We also have on our events a calendar view. So we're able to see what events are scheduled for which day within the month. And of course, we could filter that down if needed by trainer, by event, by location. And there's also a graph scheduler where we can see the different courses, what days they are assigned. We'll move on to trainers, where we can see a listing of the designated trainers for this organization, which the trainer may not necessarily be an admin. So someone who's not an admin can be set up as a trainer within the track series. Maybe they're the ones training or facilitating the course. And we even have the option for setting up external trainers. So for organizations that may use third-party vendors or consultants to facilitate training sessions, but they still want to have a tracked record within the Trainery platform, they can still set up those trainers as external trainers and give them limited access to be able to access things like the logistics and the documents and everything else, and to be able to go in and sign off on completion for attendees. If we were even to click into any of these, we can see more specific information for the trainer, like any events that this trainer is assigned currently, which we see Martin here has a few upcoming events, one ongoing that needs to be marked as completed, one completed, and 2 scheduled coming up, which of course we could click and link directly to that if we needed to make any edits or enter any notes, etc. Trainer details just gives us the information for the trainer, where we could even include what their professional certifications are, affiliations, which could be useful, especially if you're using a third-party vendor consultant, to be able to have that tracked record if needed. So the next thing we'll take a look at here in the track series is our administration, where the admin is able to set up the locations for their training. So we have 3 training locations within this organization, so that when we're creating events or creating sessions, we're able to attribute those to the appropriate location. So we're enrolling attendees in the correct thing. There's also the opportunity to set up work roles. So we can take a quick look here at the work roles that this organization is currently set up. If they needed to add new work roles, again, blue icon, white plus at the top right. But we can click into any of these to see more information. So this sales L2, for example, we can see any description, information, number of employees. If we look at courses, we can see what courses are associated with this role. So the roles can be attributed to specific courses, so you know that anyone with this role needs to take this training. In this case, we've got a couple virtual instructor-led trainings that employees in this role would need to complete or attend. We can see a listing of the employees that currently have this work role, and we could add new using the blue icon and the white plus at the top right. We can also take a look at any associated credentials. Now, this work role does not have any credentials as a sales role, but we looked earlier at our the PMP certification. You can attribute a PMP certification to a certain job role so that that's also tracked and just streamlines that whole process of administering and tracking a lot easier. All right, moving on. On the interest of time, we're going to skip past some of the coaching for today and go straight to our credentials and ILT. Won't spend too much time in either, just to show exactly where those are. So on our credentials here, track credentials, we're able to see the dashboard of the different credentials, top 5 and how many associates hold these credentials, how many credentials are expiring. We can see a quick snapshot of credentials expiring within the next 12 months and the next 6 months, and the number of employees that hold credentials. We've got a credential summary here, which shows the 5 credentials that this organization has currently set up. And if we wanted to see all of our users that hold, for instance, a PMP, we can go here and click deeper to see more information. So for the PMP, we've got our details. We've got how long in months this is good for. Again, email notifications and reminders are sent out through the platform, so we can designate when those reminders are sent out and at what intervals. Any CPEs that are required, exams, etc., all of that can be filled in there. We can see a listing of employees that hold this certification. Any courses that are assigned within the platform to this. So with something like a PMP, where all that training's likely to be done externally, might not be any specific trainery courses assigned, but if there's certifications or licenses that are held internally, like for instance, even with safety, like a forklift driver, we could have associated courses with forklift driving that would be assigned to this role, so that users that have the certification know that they need to complete that to maintain the certification. We can also see a listing of employee summary, which again is just going to show us the count of credentials by employee and any CPEs earned rather. Right, we're just going to move on here to settings just quickly to show there is a whole library of credentials preloaded just for different certifications that can be utilized. And of course, this is just the library that comes with it. This is sort of a free flow. The admin users are able to create the conditions for their licenses and certifications. They're not required to use anything from the credential library. Last thing to take a look at is going to be our instructor-led training section, where we're able to see a listing of upcoming scheduled virtual instructor-led training courses, which we currently in this organization do not have any upcoming, but we do have some that we recently completed. So we'll take a look at the previous ILT courses, which shows us that there were sessions completed back in April for 2 different courses. And we're able to see the information like the meeting ID and password, what platform. Currently, we are set up for a Zoom integration, and I'll show that briefly where that is set up, but Zoom can be utilized for the meetings. We're going to be also including Teams in the very near future so that the meetings can be set up through Teams. But we see that this event already occurred, so we can take a little more information, or take a look at a little more information. Let's take a look at who attended. So we can see that for this training, we had 2 attendees. Both of them accepted and attended. There's also a listing of the ILT records, which is going to be those learning records that we took a look at way back in the organization and employees sections, but this would just be a filtered look of ILT learning records. course summary just shows a listing of the courses that are set up to be ILT courses. So if we took a look at this SAM LMS, for example, it's going to open up and allow us to edit or add to the course if we needed to, like if we needed to change the thumbnail image, or if we needed to add content to the course or add sessions in the event of a virtual instructor-led training. All right, the last thing to take a look at in the ILT section that I mentioned is the settings. If you go here, this is something that only a user with administrator privileges are allowed to set up for the organization. But in this case, the admin's able to go in and link the Zoom account so that instructor-led trainings that are scheduled and have attendees are going to run through that Zoom account that has been linked. Last thing to take a look at briefly is the reports, which we'll take a look at our reports here, which we're going to look just at the LMS reports, but we can see just quick at a glance the user reports where we're able to filter this or sort by courses completed, not started, past due, and so on. So we've been using Simon as an example. Let's take a look at Simon's user report where we're able to see what LMS courses he is enrolled in. Again, completion certificates, start dates, due dates, etc. All of our reports can also be exported using the export button at the top right corner of the reports pages, which will allow you to export whatever page you're looking at into either a PDF or Excel file. And with that, I am going to turn it back over to Mahesh so we can close out for any questions, but that is a quick look at the TraineryLEARN platform and the modules contained. So Mahesh, I'll give it to you to wrap up. So if anyone has any questions, now's a great time to go ahead and include those in chat and we'll take a look at those.
Yes.
And we had a question earlier. Let's see. Who typically manages the admin functions? IT, L&D? So that's going to be really organization specific. There's no mandate within the platform as to who can be an administrator. The administrators that are set up initially through the relationship during onboarding and launching of using Trainery One have the flexibility to create additional admins. So some customers that we work with do have IT that manage it. Some do have a dedicated LMS admin. Some have training coordinators that are admins. It's very organization dependent, but the important note is that the flexibility is there within Trainery to set up whoever needs to have that admin access. One thing that I didn't mention as we were walking through, but could be important to note for that, is that the admins can also be set up on the individual organization level, so that if you have someone who is, for instance, an administrator for just North Carolina offices within the organization, they can be set up as an admin just for that section of hierarchy, so that they may not necessarily have access to the entire organization, which again, for larger clients or multi-state customers, becomes very important just to segregate data for privacy issues. Any other questions?
Sanchita, the poll results are back, right? You have any interesting data point?
Oh, I can run the poll. It'll be nice if attendees can, answer it. I'm going to launch the first one. Yeah. Yeah, I think the poll results are being very tricky today anyways. If you have any questions, please put it in the chat box or you can email us too. I think we have enough questions then. I think we can end the webinar. Thank you everyone for attending. We will be sending you the recording and video soon. So And as usual, please let us know if you have any questions. You can contact us through our website, through the email address provided. You will be getting a feedback email from our team. So thank you all for attending.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank
Much
you.
appreciated.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you.